It's 6:26. Gotta head out. Been up for an hour or so. I got all my under whatever's on. It's like 30 degrees at the summit, but wind is gonna make it feel like 20 or something. So not terrible. Looking to summit by like 11 and head down, but we'll see. I'm about to head out. At the base, 7:17. Get up by 12, down by 3. That's the plan. He's summiting too. He's getting up by 11, down by 1. Yeah. Mount Humphrey is the tallest mountain in Arizona. It stands at 12,633 feet with 3,420 elevation gain. Overall, the first part of the hike is super chill. It's pretty wide, very shaded, and overall pretty easy for someone that's relatively experienced in hiking. It's a great warm-up for the whole mountain. Later on, it gets much steeper, so warming up's fairly important, and the start is a great way to warm up. This is honestly my favorite part. It's just super calm, and you're walking through these huge pines with the sunlight slightly peering through all of the trees. And it's all before the wind, before the rocks, before all the false summits. It's just really peaceful. And even not going to the summit, it's still worth it just to go to the saddle. You get to be in nature and still see what you would see from the summit. All right, so we're like 2 hours in. I have no clue how much longer, but 2 hours, I think. That's the plan. 2 hours until summit. Yeah. Around the tree line is where Humphrey really starts to change. The trail gets steeper and the rocks get bigger. Every step takes a lot more effort, and that half mile until the saddle is really difficult, and in my opinion, the hardest part of the hike. And from here, the saddle looks really, really close, but the incline just makes it take way longer than you would think. But when you reach the saddle, the whole hike changes. You get to look back and see the whole forest you just climbed through, and ahead of you is nothing but ridgelines and sky. This is also where the altitude starts to kick in, and it gets a lot more difficult, not just because the incline increases, but also because of the altitude. You really need to make sure that you're checking your breathing and not pushing yourself too hard. I'm getting ready for the summit push, and I'm tired. I got my bar, but summit push time. All right, I had to throw on the ski mask because of the wind, but looks great. Doing great. Not a single false summit yet though, but we're getting there. Like I said, once you're above the tree line, the whole mountain starts to feel different. The wind hits you harder, the air gets thinner, and every step feels way more exposed. You can see the entire basin behind you, and the trailhead just winds along the ridge with nothing blocking the view. It's one of those moments you realize how high you actually are. But there's this thing called a false summit, and there's a lot of false summits. A false summit is a point on a mountain trail that looks like the final peak, but is followed by a higher and much taller summit. All right, so I'm out of water and food, and I'm not at the summit yet. The summit's over there. Not too bad, not too far. I'm thinking I'm a summit, but I don't know. This is where a lot of the hike turns into a mental game. The trail turns rocky and uneven, and the summit suddenly feels super close, but also super far at the same time. The wind never stops. The wind makes everything cold and noisy and not very peaceful. You're just trying to move from one ridge to the next and trying to keep a rhythm. And even though this last bit of the hike is super brutal, the views make the whole hike worth it and all of the struggle worth it. Every time you look around, it feels like you're walking on top of really the whole world, not just the state. And it's the kind of view that makes you forget of how tired and how bad that hike was. All right, I'm at the summit. Head back down. It's 12:49, so way later than I wanted, but it's okay. Headed down now. Looks like I'll get down at 3 or something. We'll see. But, yeah. So I'm low-key lost. I think the trail's over there. I'm not 100% sure. But this is definitely not the trail. But we're doing good. I have about 2.5 miles left. I feel terrible. But 2.5 miles left. Yeah. So my phone did end up dying on the way down, but I made it down safely, as you can tell. So I'm just going to give a quick little summary and what I would have done, what I wouldn't have done, that type of stuff. And then what I would bring for gear, and I'll do it for all 4 seasons and stuff like that. So for your upper body, I brought 3 things. I brought a t-shirt, jacket, windbreaker. Windbreaker, non-negotiable. You need that every single season. You need it. Above the saddle, it gets really windy, and well, you don't need it, but I would highly recommend it. Jacket and t-shirt, that was just preference. I was fine during it. I did it in November. T-shirt just needs to be breathable, or long sleeve, doesn't matter. You choose what you want to bring for the weather. Whatever temperature it is, maybe take a few degrees off of that because of the wind, but something comfortable, layers, it's all that matters for your upper body. Other than gloves, I just wore. Actually, I didn't even have gloves. Let me correct myself. I did have gloves, but I didn't wear them most of the time, but I just brought them. Later on in the year, if I went in with snow, I probably would have brought mittens, but I went during November, no snow, so I brought some thin gloves, and they didn't even need them. So, and then you have your lower body. I brought 2 things, I guess 3. So my normal underwear, my long underwear, and I have these pants that you can zip and they turn into shorts. Underwear, long underwear, breathable. That's the main thing that matters. I think wool is the best here. That's my opinion, and I'm pretty sure that's like the common consensus. But the pants, I highly, highly, highly recommend those because they're so versatile, because you can bring them when it's cold, and as you're hiking, you warm up, and you can just unzip your pants, and you can take your pants off, kind of. And that works great. So I would recommend those for your lower body, for your pants. Socks and shoes, I brought lined socks and then wool socks. The line doesn't matter so much, just choose a good brand. Wool socks, make sure you choose the right thickness for whatever the temperature is, because that matters a lot. So make sure you choose that. Wool socks is fine though. And then depending on the time of year, your shoes can be really trail runners any time of the year other than snow or rain. If it's snowing or raining, bring some type of waterproof. You could spray your shoes with waterproof, or bring waterproof boots, something along the lines of that. But if not, if it's during the summer, spring, fall, no snow, you can just bring trail runners. I've seen people do it in slides, so you should be fine with really whatever. But in winter, when there is snow, bring microspikes. If you do not bring microspikes, you will not get to the top. That's just how that works with snow. You might need snowshoes. Above 11,000 feet is where snowshoes start to sometimes be required, sometimes not. It really just depends, but a lot of people bring snowshoes when there's at least some snow, because above 11,000 feet, it just gets really iffy with that type of stuff. So now on to things that I wish I did or I wish I didn't do. I'll start off with what I wish I didn't do, because I honestly did a lot of things wrong this time. I got too confident because I've done it before, so I thought it'll be nothing and I'll just fly through it. So first things first, pace your water. I didn't do that. I ran out of water really early, and I honestly shouldn't have kept going, but I ended up doing that. So pace your water, bring enough food, and also pace your food. That's very important. My pointer normally would be something once an hour or so, and then you get to the saddle, get some electrolytes in, and then get to the summit, head down, get to the saddle again, and have some more electrolytes. That's how I would plan it out properly. I didn't do that this time, and I wish that I ended up doing that because I was in a bad spot. Another thing I did that I wish I didn't do was keep going, because that wasn't very smart of me to keep going. I should have turned around because I ran out of food and water before even the saddle. And if that happens to you, just turn around. It's not a good idea to keep going, because, yeah. I got lucky. I had somebody give me a little bit of food. I don't think I would have been fine. I think I would have been fine without the food to the bottom, but it just made things easier. For the next one, it goes in hand with being too confident. I've done it before, so I was thinking altitude was going to be fine. I wish I paced myself more going up, because I went up too fast and I started getting a headache. I advise you do the same, where you pace yourself and do not go up too fast. And I'd say personally, If as long as you can hold a conversation with someone and you're not heaving, then you're doing good. Keep that pace up. If you push yourself too hard, altitude sickness will get to you. You'll get a headache. You might even throw up. That's on the more extreme side, but there have been I've seen people throw up on that mountain from altitude sickness. But make sure to pace yourself when you're going up. That's all for the things that I wish I did, and now on to the things that I am glad I did and I recommend you do as well. First things first, trekking poles. They're not required, but I'm glad I brought them. It makes going down so much easier. Your knees will really thank you for it. So bring trekking poles. That's a big one. Next is electrolytes. Electrolytes help a lot more than you would have thought, or at least I would have thought. So make sure you bring electrolytes. Salt as well. Salt came in clutch during the hike. And that's all for pretty much everything. That's pretty much it. A few other things. I'd start at around 7, maybe earlier. Right after sunrise, in my opinion, is the best time because you don't need headlamps or anything. And you can still get down before the afternoon. Getting down before the afternoon is a big part because that's when weather starts to get a little unpredictable. So as long as you're down by nighttime, unless you want to do that and use headlamps, go for it. But I don't like using headlamps, so I'd just rather not do that. And so yeah, leave right after sunset, start the hike, and have a goal for each point. Like have a goal to get to the saddle at 9 and then the summit by 10, and then like plan it out like that. I think that's a great way to plan it out. Dress appropriately for weather, rain, temperature, all that stuff. Make sure you're dressing appropriately, and that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you guys for Mount Humphreys. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments and what other Arizona hikes you guys would like to see. I'm also going to start doing more bigger mountains. I'm going to do Mount Rainier pretty soon, and I'll also make a video on that one. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you guys want to see and if you guys have any questions. Bye-bye.